My name is Jasmine, and I am a recovering drug addict.
My name is Richie Farrell, AKA the Old White Junkie.
And we are your hosts for Exit Team Nashua.
Our mission is to bring recovery into the living room.
Last year, over 72,000 Americans died of an accidental overdose.
That's almost 200 Americans every single day.
We will bring you guests with real-life experiences with addiction and recovery.
Welcome to Exit Team Nashua.
Hi, welcome to Exit Team Nashua. My name is Jasmine, and I am your host. Unfortunately, Bobby couldn't make it tonight, but we're sending him lots of love. I'm really happy to be here this week. I missed the last two shows. I was out for an unexpected surgery, but I've made a full recovery. God is really good. I'm back in full health. We have a phenomenal in-studio guest that I'm really excited about tonight. He's here to share his experience, strength, and hope, his real-life experience, with addiction and what he went through with that, as well as mental illness. But what's most inspiring is what he's made of himself today. And so he has brought a video here to share with everyone. So I'm really excited about that. So I want you guys to watch the video. We're going to play it right now.
What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Plante, and I am a singer-songwriter, but I am also a multi-genre recording artist.
How can someone so beautiful lose themselves so bad?
I am a recovering addict, and due to actions that I took during active addiction, I wound up serving 3.5 years in the New Hampshire State Prison System. I decided to get sober and to better my life. I knew that if I wanted to continue doing the right thing, that a rooming house was not an option for me, so I got released to a treatment facility. When I got there, it was a co-ed facility, so I got to know a lot of the women. They had allowed a lot of abuse into their lives, both physical, mental, emotional. I got inspired and came to the realization that this was my opportunity to give some love to somebody who needed it, to a group of women who needed it. So I sat down and I wrote New Beginnings, and when you're inspired like that, it just comes out. And I probably wrote that song in about 2 minutes, lyrics and all. It was one of the easiest songs I've ever had to write. It was a really beautiful moment for my life. New Beginnings is about setting a standard of love to the people that come into your life, whether it's your mother or your children or even a passing stranger. It's your job as a man to set an example of what love is so that they can carry that out into their lives. It's shedding that old school ideology of showing love as a sign of weakness, because it's not, it's a sign of strength. So no matter how rigid or how strong you feel you are in this life, it's okay to show love to other people around you.
Cause this is not the end.
I learned that your thoughts and your emotions kind of create the reality around you. And I used to belittle my dreams. I used to say, I don't need to make it big. I just want to make it good enough so that I can make a living off of doing this, and I kind of caught myself doing that. And I tell myself now that if I'm gonna dream, I might as well dream big. When I'm trying to project that out to the universe, that's what I put out. We're going big with this thing. I'm trying to approach this from all angles, because in all reality, all the angles are who I am. For years, I was just a rock artist, but I learned that, over time, I'm just an artist. I pull from my experience to create something, and it doesn't need to be a certain genre. It can be whatever I want it to be. My goal is to just try to get this to a bigger level so I can not only be successful for myself, but also so I can raise awareness to all the causes and things that I do. Red 13, they've been awesome. They took me in, and they knew that I don't have a whole lot to work with, but you know, they found a budget for me. We came in, we did the music video for New Beginnings. I mean, the guys have just been really awesome, and now we're setting it up so that they can help me promote the video so the thing can be successful. So these guys have played a really big role into what this is about to be. Alright, this is Scott Plante. Be on the lookout for me in 2019 and get ready for the release of the dance video for New Beginnings.
All right, so now that you guys know that Scott Plante is our in-studio guest.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, so Scott has been on the show before.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, so it's an honor to have you back.
Honor to be here.
So before, because there are viewers watching that haven't seen your last interview, so before we get into, you know, what qualifies for you for this show and what has brought you here, tell us about your video.
Video? Well, the video was something that I had planned out for a really long time. You know, I wrote that song probably 2 years ago in a treatment facility. You know, the women that were there kind of inspired me to write it, and I've been chipping away at it ever since. That song's been recorded multiple times until the final time I traveled out to Tennessee and recorded with Brett Hessler, which he was a touring bassist for the band Creed and played in a lot of other really big rock bands, and just an awesome guy to work with. Recorded it and then had the concepts for the videos, and a million times over, film companies would like take it on because they wanted to just do it, because they wanted to be a part of it, and they'd end up flaking out on me, and that happened so many times.
So frustrating.
Yeah,
oh,
that happened countless times. And then finally I got in touch with Red 13 Studios because I know the CEO of the company. Because
Where are they located?
Framingham, Mass.
Oh, okay, right, all right.
Yeah, and the owner is the drummer for the band Prospect Hill, which is a bigger rock band up this way.
Yep.
And I connected with him, and you know, they worked with the budget that I had, and we got it done.
The song's beautiful.
Yeah.
As soon as it starts playing, it's so okay. It's like you can just like feel it. It vibes with your soul.
Yeah, absolutely. And it came from such a positive place, a good place. It's got a good message behind it. You know, it's about loving the people that come into your life, so is that they know what love is. You know, because some people, you know, go through their lives being physically, mentally, and emotionally abused, and they deal with that for so long that they're accustomed to it. You know, they don't even understand what real love and respect really is, because it's never been shown to them. So it's important as a man to show that to people, no matter who they are to you, so that they can carry that out into the rest of their lives.
So as a woman who was a child of you know, like being abused, it took me a long time in my life to realize that that wasn't acceptable and that wasn't love, and that I deserved better. And to be completely honest, I still on a daily basis work on self-love, my value, what I'm worth, and what I'm going to accept from others, and how I'm going to allow others to treat me.
Yeah, it's a practice, you know, and I'm the same way. I've been through a lot of abuse in my life, and it's a practice, you know, learning how to, you know, cut people off that shouldn't be in your life, you know, because sometimes people, you know, the opening line is, how could someone so beautiful lose themselves so bad that they would settle for anything just to feel love again?
I have goosebumps.
And that's what it is sometimes people just want love so badly. They want something in their life, you know, because they don't have that sense of love for themselves.
Right.
And building that sense of love for yourself is important to do that, you know, because then once you do, you don't need that from other people. You get to be selective. You get to say, you know what, I have enough love in my life. I don't need yours. I want it there, and if it's equal, then I will cherish it and value it. But if it's not of equal value to what I'm giving you, see you later.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so amazing. It's it reminds me. So I'm like a 12-step girl. So what I think of is like the spiritual malady, that emptiness. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And so what I did for so long in my life is I would reach for outside things to make me feel okay. But that only works temporarily, and until you learn the value of self-love. And for me, you know, what I say is like that power resides inside of me, and I, you know, I don't know what it is. I refer to it as God, but I don't know what God is. It's some kind of energy, and like and I don't need to settle for less than, like, I am worthy, you know.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a practice. Those things, they come a little more over time. Something you have to work at, especially when you've been through a lot in your life that's on the other end. Then it takes work and time, and you know, I think people do that in general, not even just addicts.
Yeah.
People are always seeking for outside things, material things.
Blessed to be an addict. Blessed,
well,
right?
We truly are. That spiritual work, most people don't do it.
Yeah, right.
You know? So we should be grateful that we've wound up in the shoes that we wound up in, because it has then taken us to this place where we actually start doing spiritual work, which is completely away from the ego-driven, materialistic world where people are just constantly seeking outside things to fulfill themselves, you know. But that, it's passing. Those things aren't permanent. The love and the energy that you can find for yourself through spiritual work gives you permanent solutions that stick with you. So you don't need anything. You can have things because you want them and you work for them and you achieve them, and it's a beautiful feeling, but you don't need it in your life. Exactly.
They're things.
Yeah, and they all come, it comes and goes.
Right, yeah.
You don't have attachment, because attachment causes suffering when you attach yourself to things. Outcomes, the spiritual work allows you to not constantly be focused on an outcome or an end result. You know, you actually just live life in the moment and you enjoy it for whatever it is.
I'm like so excited right now. Yes, yeah, right. Just to be content in that moment, and whatever is. And oh my Lord, it took me a long time to get there. And so sometimes I'll even be like, sometimes I'll find myself reverting back to old behaviors. Well, why is this like this? And this should be this way. And then I'll be like, Jazz, like, you're literally here to be in this moment, and like your only job is to show up and live by principle and love.
I started writing a book about consciousness.
Stop.
And that's exactly what it is. So if you allow yourself to act through consciousness and not your own mind-driven thoughts, that's how I changed the person that I was. You know, I've done a lot of terrible things in my life. You know, I have countless thefts on my record and things like that. I had to literally reprogram my brain, but in order to reprogram my brain, where was I pulling the information from? I pulled the information from consciousness, which is a direct connection to God. You know, and God's a weird word to use, because some people, I think religion has really damaged that word a lot. So people, you know, get turned off by it really quickly. So sometimes you just say the universe. The universe.
That's what I say all the time.
Is a nice, easy word to use.
And then some people think I'm crazy because I'm like, well, the universe this and the universe that. I was like, I don't know what to say. So I was on a different show on Monday night, and I forgot where I was going with this. I was on a different show Monday night. What were we saying before we talked about the universe? Oh, God. And I was like, I resented God for so long because someone had done a lot of damage and harm to me, and they claimed to be a godly person. And so I had resented God, and I had resented the idea of what I thought God should be, and I resented religion. And so, in my opinion, all religions have truth to them. And if you get to the underlying message, it's to live by principle.
That's it, the principles.
Right.
It's the principles of religion that matter, but so much ego-driven thought and behaviors. This is it. This is the structure. Even though there's thousands of different sects of religions, you know, and everybody has a tiny little bit of a different take.
Right.
And everybody says, this is the truth. This is what sticks. And if you're outside of our box, then you're not welcome and you're going to hell, you know. But it's the principles behind it all. It's the truth, the spiritual truths.
Yeah, I don't want to like start a religious
debate,
exactly. But I'm going to. I think I'm going to go with it because you said you're going to hell, and so I feel like heaven and hell is right here, right now, in this moment. It's what I choose to make of it. You know, I can choose to suffer and you know, to really suffer internally and to take that chaos and spread it all around me, or I can find peace and be in the moment and right here and right now and to to experience bliss.
Exactly.
You know, and there's probably a lot of people that I might have just offended there, but
it is what it is. I think that the kingdom of heaven is staying in a state of pure consciousness, acting through pure consciousness. When you're acting through pure consciousness, there is no wrong choices.
Right.
You might make mistakes, but those mistakes are intentional.
And they lead to something. There's
They
no
always
such thing
bring
as
you to something.
failure.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But you have to constantly be open to it, you know? That's like, you know, I've read the Bible, and I have a lot of friends who are Christians, and I believe that, you know, I can't say one way or another if Jesus existed, because I didn't live during that time. I didn't see him with my own two eyes, but I can have some faith based around it, and I believe that he was just a master of his time, trying to get people to understand what living through consciousness is.
Yeah, and to love. He, you know, love
Exactly.
the sinner, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's the only way to transmute things. You know, if you try to attack something bad or negative with more hate, and it's not going to change, people just become defiant. But if you approach something with love, and you find a way to approach something with love, you have the opportunity to transmute it into love.
So I have a big tattoo right here that says God is love. That's my whole forearm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I actually got the idea from a book called God is Love. It wasn't original. You should read it though. It's a really good book, and it has you know, it's, you know, based off of Christianity, and it's so beautifully written, and it talks about, like, you know, all the principles that Jesus lived by, and you know, what he tried to teach people and show them how to live by principle, and how he just kept trying to teach people to live by love, and that this power is love, and this is what you need. So
Absolutely.
so we've gone off on a really big tangent here.
It's all good.
I know. So tell me what qualifies you to be on the show.
What qualifies me to be on the show? Well, I've gotten to this point in my life where I've gotten kind of tired of talking about my past. I like talking about my future. You know, it's like I feel like talking about it too much. I feel like I still have to hold on to it. And there's a part of me that wants to let it go. But, so for me, I suffered from really bad mental health problems. I've had mental hallucinations. I've attempted suicide. I've been psychiatrically hospitalized multiple times. I learned at a pretty young age that all I had to do was put something into my body, and I could find a way to regulate myself. But it was so inconsistent that it actually made me worse. And what I know now that I didn't know then was actually unstabilizing me. So it was stabilizing, unstabilizing, stabilizing, unstabilizing, which was causing my body to program itself to that. So it made me 10 times worse. But of course I continued, because once the claws of addiction are set in, there's this really, it takes a miracle for you to turn back. And, you know, I think everybody in recovery that has maintained sobriety for a length of time is a miracle, because
Absolutely.
getting yourself out of that, you know, I also learned that, you know, you create these neurological pathways in your brain throughout actions, you know.
I love the science of addiction.
Me
'cause
too,
so
it's
many,
incredible.
I love it, because so many people like say like these certain things don't work, and I'm like, well, you know, like I'm a spirit person and I believe in spirit work, but let's break it down to the science, because let me show you.
Well, I think science proves spirituality. I don't think that they're combatant things. I think that it proves it. And if you really dive into it, you dive into physics, it's incredible. It's beautiful stuff. It proves that spirituality is completely...
Quantum physics, everything.
Exactly,
Like,
it's
where we even
incredible.
really hear what's going on? Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just say I mean, anything that I ever did in my life, I always wanted to do things my way. So, you know, the first time that I was addicted to heroin, I was 17 years old, and I was sticking needles in my arms at that age.
17.
17, I went to jail, got off of that, but didn't want to be sober. You know, I was so programmed to living that life, so I used a different vice. I went to alcohol, but then I was using alcohol to the point where I was literally going into psychosis and locking myself in my room for days and drinking from 9 o'clock in the morning till I either blacked out or passed out at night, constantly having to apologize to people, you know, and just living in a constant state of suffering. So my life train wrecked from that, you know, and then decided, okay, well, then we'll just do coke, you know. Exactly. And then, you know, then I'm doing that until I'm crawling around on the carpets, you know, looking for pieces. Exactly.
I laugh like it's funny, because I laugh because it's relatable, but
It's
actually
funny now.
It's really painful.
It's sad. It's really, it's truly, truly sad. You become a slave. You are a slave, just a helpless,
I mean, the thought of
hopeless
someone
slave.
crawling around on the
all
carpet
fours.
seems insane, but the truth is that we've lived that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, eventually I found my way back to heroin. My life completely got destroyed. I committed crimes, and I served 3.5 years in New Hampshire State Prison. And, you know, at the time, it kind of felt like the end of the world, you know, because here I am. You know, I've always kind of had this music dream. I've always held on to it, no matter how far away I've gotten from it because of drugs. So when you know you're about to lose 3.5 years of your life, you know, you just, part of you really wants to give up altogether. But it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me, because towards the end of my stay there, I got sober, and I've been sober ever since, and it's been over 2 years. So.
And you had to go through all those experiences to become the person that
you
you
know
are.
what? Those, I mean, even in recovery, actually my biggest struggles that I've ever had in my entire life came in recovery. Because when I got sober and I was trying to fight things from a holistic standpoint. I mean, I was having these severe panic attacks, which would trigger the bipolar stuff that I have. So I was having mental hallucinations. It was incredibly rugged the first year of my sobriety. I literally had to fight. I have a really aggressive rock song called Never Take Me Alive, and that song's not like a battle cry to somebody else or to anything in particular. It was me saying that to myself. You know, I had to become endurant and rugged, and not to say to just fight, but fighting to me was being active in recovery. It was changing my diet, you know. At one point during that process, I became suicidal because these things were happening to me daily. It wasn't like I was a once a week thing that I could tough through. And I had an attack that lasted literally 2 weeks. I was in this like state of pure panic. It's like somebody dumping adrenaline into your bloodstream and it not going away for 2 weeks. It was incredible.
I hate that feeling, even just for like, if I get it for like 10 minutes, like it's just so tight on your chest. It's like boom, boom, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, and I had one that lasted 2 weeks. I went to the emergency room twice.
Sorry, I'm laughing, but I would not have been able to live through that, I don't think.
That's literally what it was like.
It's so uncomfortable.
And instead of like giving in or getting high, you know, because, you know, your brain at that time tells you, like, if you hold a lighter to your hand for a long period of time, your body's going to say, pull away, because it's painful, it's damaging to your body. Well, your body recognizes emotional pain as damaging also, which is why people go to little scapegoats, drugs, alcohol, whatever it may be, gratifying behaviors to release endorphins, because it takes away that pain, you know. And I was becoming suicidal, not because I wanted to kill myself, but because my body was telling me we can't do this anymore. But instead of giving in and getting high or taking my own life, I went and saw a holistic doctor. He was a medical doctor. He turned to the holistic side of things, told him, this is what's happening to me. This is where I'm at emotionally. I need your help.
We need to take a look at the holistic side of things more as a society. People
literally saved my life.
They look for a quick fix, a pill, a pill, the quick fix, and like, most medications treat the symptom.
Exactly. They don't fix the problem.
The whole person needs to heal.
Exactly.
We're running out of time.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know how this happened.
Yeah. But basically, you know, he told me, cut sugars out of your diet. I have very strict eating schedules, so I eat at the same times every day. I have strict sleeping schedules. I have strict workout schedules. And because I have stuck to those things for over 2 years now, they don't happen anymore. I don't have attacks.
Discipline is self-love.
Discipline.
And so people think like all these disciplined routines are going to take away from my life and I'm not going to have freedom. But the truth is those disciplined routines give you the freedom. Oh, yeah. People are like, why do you get up at 5 a.m. and meditate? Well, I get up at 5 a.m. and meditate because it's like what I need to do, and I'm disciplined, and because of that, I'm set for the rest of the day to run around with all the chaos that goes on. Society's crazy.
That is an aspect of living in consciousness, through consciousness, is self-discipline.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you look at any spiritual story, it doesn't matter if it's the story about Jesus or the story about Buddha, they talk very much about self-discipline and disciplining themselves when it came to everything, when it came to eating and their practices, their daily practices towards people. And they stayed disciplined in those things, because to stay in consciousness means to sometimes go against what your body's telling you. Your body's going to tell you to do the wrong thing because
our body reacts.
Our bodies, we are of sinful nature.
And we trap energy in our body, you know what I mean? And so our body reacts so much to that.
To everything.
Yeah.
It's incredible what food can do for you.
I watched this oh my God, we have a question, but I want to say this. So I watched this documentary, on Netflix the other day, and so it talked about the power that originates inside the body and how the heart beats on its own and how we breathe on our own. If how we have a cut, the body knows to naturally heal itself.
Exactly.
And so it talked a lot about like how the consumerism society pushes medications on people, and what we really need to do is be connecting with spirit, and the body will heal.
Exactly. And there's different, so in like Eastern philosophy, they practice Eastern medicine, which there's different like channels of where your energy goes through your body. So if you have a problem, say in your liver, then they know to approach the energy from a different part of the body that leads to the liver, and it works. It works just as well as our medicines, but our medicines are marketed and shoved in people's faces, so nobody gets the other sides.
Right, yeah.
And the problem with modern medicine is it creates more disease in the body. So they can constantly profit off of your disease.
Right. Even people that are, well-intentioned and their motives are good, they're just uneducated. And, if you give me a medicine to treat a symptom, there's a side effect from that medicine, and there are all these different things. Not saying that medicines are bad, because trust me, some people need medicine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still take medications,
right,
but I was on a plethora of them. And I weaned myself down off of multiple medications because they weren't helping. My problems still existed, so I cut those medications out of my life. But those medications are important for people that are where they're at. So say somebody is suffering from bipolar disorder, they need medications to start you off. But then you need to take the holistic route as well on top of it, so you can actually start fixing those problems.
The underlying cause. We don't have enough time to get into it, but that's like with harm reduction.
I could talk forever about it.
I know, right? Harm reduction is great. It keeps people alive. You know what I mean? It's damage control, as you had said. But
and that
like,
will help.
That
will help guide you while you heal. That will keep you stable while you heal. And then once you're done healing, then you can take the proper steps that it takes to get off of them.
Right.
I mean, it took me over a year to get off the medications that I was on. Slow, gradual steps of healing and focus and staying dedicated to all the routines that I had in my life, and essential oils and foods and exercise and all that.
It's been a great show.
Absolutely.
We have a question that we didn't get to.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have enough time to even answer it, I don't think. Can you answer that in 20 seconds?
Now that medical marijuana is available, do you think that helps with recovery or hurts?
That's like a loaded question.
Because
no matter what, you got a wrong answer.
I'm addictive no matter what it is. I've been a fanatic about pot in my life, where I'm literally, crushing up stems and seeds to hopefully try to get a little buzz.
Yeah.
So for me, no, it's not very good. Now, CBD oil, I think CBD oil is an incredible thing, and I can't use it personally because the medications that I'm on, it has a bad reaction to. But I think the people that use it, I think there's a lot of health benefits, and it does a lot of things for the mental health. So
I'm not even willing to try it. I'm not even willing to try it. I don't even need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's been a great show.
Absolutely.
So you could find Scott on social media.
Please.
Facebook, check him out. He's got a lot of wonderful things going on. And if anyone needs anything from us, look us up on Facebook. I'm a heroin addict. You can look me up personally on Facebook. And we're available to help anyone. Thank you.
All right.
You went by so quick.
I did. That's good. It was a good show.
It's a really good show.
Bam.
As always, thank you.
You're welcome.
As always. This is Camille. I have no idea. People are texting me to get to treatment while we're on the show.
Oh no.